My name is Donna Fiore. It used to be Donna Remini, all right? And I was 28 years Leah's stepmother. You know, I'm really pissed at her, okay?
Dana and I, my present wife, we went out there to visit, and she wanted us to sign a non-disclosure form. So I was like, what? I'm your father. What am I going to tell people? You know, I kept quiet about everything. You know, now, today, got to come out.
Leah Remini plays a public role of family champion, a compassionate breadwinner who keeps the family together. But family members themselves tell a different story.
Behind the scenes, Leah, have you seen that show that they had, It's All Relative? Have you seen it at all? All right, in the beginning, they're all smiles, and as soon as the cameras are closed, Leah's like,
oh my God, you guys, I am sweating in places.
that's Leah. If the cameras are rolling, she's got a big smile and wonderful, wonderful child.
But behind the scenes, Leah's a witch.
Right. For lack of a better word.
Who I really am is sometimes an asshole. Sometimes I have a horrible temper. I'm like sometimes I feel like I'm like an old school mafia person stuck in a female body. Like I have really extreme thoughts about life.
In 2017 and 18, Leah's late father, George Remini, and his wife, Dana, spoke out about Leah in a series of videos on YouTube after she publicly smeared and defamed her dad.
Leah said a lot of things like, I'm a drug dealer, I'm a pimp, I'm this, I'm that. And I said, where are you getting this? It hurt me a lot. How could my daughter say these things about me? I just can't understand it. I was brought up totally different. And she was brought up to respect the people that you know and love. But I guess California and money did a lot to her.
Yeah, come on. Show me the money.
Yeah, that's what happened. She got to California, she got some parts, and she just turned into another person.
Gotta show me the money. Yeah. Come on.
George wasn't the only family to find that Leah's first brush with celebrity went straight to her head. Donna Fiore, who was married to Leah's father for 28 years, came forward in 2017 to unleash years of pent-up resentment toward the stepdaughter she helped to raise, and spoke of Leah's rising star.
When she became known, okay, then she got like a diva, all right? And I was like, excuse me, And it's bullshit. It's bullshit, but yet you think all these people are, adoring you, but that's not real life. They're not adoring you. They're adoring who they see on TV. They don't know what it is to bitch you could be.
Leah's father saw his daughter transform even further from the girl he raised in Brooklyn.
You know, she just has a big attitude about her. Like, everything is coming to her. She's got to have this, and I got to have that. Like, even Angelo, when she met him, he was a down-and-out salsa singer, and she met him in a restaurant, and he was married. And she jumped right on him.
And not even to say, oh my God, this guy is married.
Not even separated.
Not even separated. He has children.
Philandering father Angelo Pagan had a 3-year-old son with his wife Raquel, and 2 young sons from an earlier girlfriend, Elaine. The resulting tabloid story of homewrecker Leah Remini and how she stole her future husband only scratched the surface. Years later, Leah revealed that she had coldly manipulated Angelo into divorcing his wife, Raquel, by giving him an ultimatum he couldn't refuse. Stating, "I knew this would push him to do it." He did it. But Leah was just getting started. She wanted Raquel gone and tried to smear the woman by hiring a private eye to dig up dirt on her indefinitely. That was the least of it. Court documents reveal that Leah was at the center of an ugly dispute between Angelo and the two mothers of his sons. The women testified that Remini waged an abusive and vengeful campaign to estrange them from each other and from their sons, threatening they would never speak to or see their children again. Raquel also testified that her young boy often stayed at Remini's house, where he learned profanity from Leah, and was exposed to pornography on TV, resulting in a court order to help protect the child. When Leah later had a daughter with Angelo, close friends were eyewitness to her behavior toward her own child.
She was constantly just like an antagonistic person. She called her daughter a all the time, like I think at the time, like her 2, 3, 4-year-old, a little bitch.
One time I was at the house and I was like in absolute shock. Leah was talking to another friend of mine and it was a very heated conversation. So I played with Sophia, she was on the trampoline, and Leah would be like, "Get out of there, move back, stop that." And I just couldn't believe how she was treating her daughter.
Friends intimately familiar with Leah's Los Angeles household also witnessed her treatment of other family firsthand.
Shut up!
This is the coming together of
everyone in Leah's camp, in her household, all the people that work for her, which is also her family. None of them have their own lives. Their lives are her. None of them seemed like family. They all seemed like employees.
Daddy's the man of the house.
But look at this.
But you're the boss.
They all had to do what she said. None of them would jeopardize the support that she was giving them.
And they used to fight with her, but they didn't fight to the point where they felt better. I think they fought to the point where Leah pretty much was the aggressive one, and they backed off because she was very aggressive, and it was very known that you don't talk like that to Leah. And if you do, it would be, you'd have to answer for it.
Family and friends said Leah's younger half-sister, Shannon, was a frequent target of her verbal abuse.
First of all, she doesn't look like a slob, Mom. You are a slob.
Shannon worked for Leah at home when she wasn't waitressing at Vivian's, the family-run cafe. Stepfather, George Marshall, was driven to complain that Shannon was reduced to tears as she found it so hard working for her critical sister.
Leah would say a lot of demeaning things to her and call her stupid, call her these different things, call her different names, and that was a constant.
One time her sister said, "Wow, that's the wrath of Leah," and she was afraid of it. And it's just because Leah created a wrath about her.
Leah soon fired Shannon as her assistant, then got in the last word at her expense.
You fired her. She worked for you.
That's true.
You fired her.
I did fire her. She's horrendous. She was the worst assistant I've ever had.
Remini also hired her older sister, Nicole, as an assistant, then fired her in a profanity-laced tirade in front of customers at the family cafe. Nicole wrote her sister, "I am beyond done with you," calling Leah's conduct disgusting, along with her self-righteous attitude. Not even Leah's mother, Vicki Marshall, is immune to Leah's verbal abuse.
Anyway, I don't want you embarrassing me.
Oh, I embarrass you.
People close to the family saw some of those times for Vicki, who worked for her daughter.
Leah had asked her mother to do something with her car and some other tasks that needed to be done around the house. Midway through, Leah was like inspecting what was happening and then correcting the mother and being very rude, using profanities, just cussing out her mom, saying how bad she was.
She just started being so condescending to her mother. And she was just ripping her mother up one side and down the other. And I'm looking at that and going, first of all, to treat her own mother that way, she was really acting like a bitch to her own mother.
But it was the news from a trip to Las Vegas that stunned family friends. Leah and Vicky reportedly clashed in a hotel room, where a violent struggle ended on the bed. Leah's hands around her mother's neck in a stranglehold, until Vicky managed to escape.
One day I was at Leah's mother's house. She was concerned that her daughter was slipping away from her in that she couldn't reason with her. You know, Leah slowly becoming the megalomaniac she became. Her mother at that time was concerned that she could not get through to her.
But family and friends say despite all appearances, Vicky never did get through to her daughter.
Vicky tolerates Leah abusing her because she lives off of her. Leah gives her money, pays her bills, she bought her a home. So what is she going to do without Leah? She has nothing.
Leah Remini's East Coast family, who don't live off of her, have not been so tolerant of her abuse. And they've seen plenty of it, including former stepmother, Donna Fiore.
You know, I'm really pissed at her, okay? I've been pissed at her for 4 years since my younger daughter, right? And I'm just, tired of all the bullshit that comes along with her.
That younger daughter Fiore spoke of was Stephanie Remini, Leah's half-sister. In 2013, tragedy struck when Stephanie was diagnosed with terminal cancer. Her medical bills skyrocketed.
Leah did not assist Stephanie Remini with money when Stephanie had cancer.
Why not?
Well, she said to Stephanie, she said, get charity care. And Leah got mad when Stephanie's sister, Christina, she had a webpage, a GoFundMe page. So people can send money to Stephanie to help with her bills. And Leah said she doesn't need money, just like that.
All through the final months of Stephanie's life, Leah never once came to visit. Stephanie passed away on the last day of 2013. Leah did not attend her memorial service. What followed, Donna Fiore said, was a fiery outburst fueled by Leah that pitted Stephanie's sister, Elizabeth, a drug-addicted felon, against her. A drama that exploded into an emotional brawl. In an email, Fiore pulled no punches with Leah Remini.
I was like, fuck you, will you die, I hate you. Because I was like, it was like a tornado of chaos at a time where I should be able to cry. I was not able to cry. I was not able to breathe.
A distraught Fiore took her fury against her stepdaughter public. The fallout would mark the end of their relationship.
What happened after that was Leah told Elizabeth to clean out Donna's apartment in North Carolina, and she was left with nothing. They took her spoons, her forks, everything.
Don't ask us why, because we don't know.
Because she was like, yeah, you're going to say you're going to turn against me and say F you and call the Inquirer on me. She gets vindictive and she'll look to take you down.
I guess, you hassle with Leah, you get the sticky end.
George Remini himself knew the sticky end all too well. When his 93-year-old mother was in her final days in Manhattan, Leah sent her sister Nicole to their grandmother's apartment to take the family possessions.
Back in the day, my mother's apartment, she was almost gone. She was almost in a coma in her bedroom in a hospital bed when Nicole came over. And what the girls told me that worked for my mother, that Nicole cleaned out all the drawers, all the money, all her jewelry, every single picture I ever had of my family. They got the bank accounts, they got her insurance money, everything. You know, she didn't even show up at the funeral for my mother. And then she says, "Oh, I don't like funerals." Hello, this is family, this is your grandmother. The woman practically raised you. And she just, that's the way she is.
In 2017, one of Leah Remini's cousins contacted the Church of Scientology to expose her lies about family, still outraged over how she treated their grandmother. The ordeal shocked and estranged East Coast relatives. But for Leah's father, George Remini, the breaking point came when he had a cancer scare. He reached out to his daughter for an emergency loan of $1,500 for a biopsy.
$1,500 is a pair of shoes for her, or boots. That's for $1,500. Leah never did it. I says, "Why didn't you do it?" "Well, I don't want them to have my credit card number." I said, "You're talking about my life here for $1,500.
George was finally able to make his own arrangements after a long delay.
And they took the biopsy and it came out to be cancer. And I went through 14 hours of surgery for the cancer.
After turning her back on her father, Leah then incredibly denounced him for his so-called lack of loyalty and claimed, "When you really needed me, I was there." She then told her father, "I see no reason to continue this relationship."
I tried to reach out to Leah many, many, many times. And every time I called and she was there, Vicky would pick up the phone. She said, "Oh no, she's setting the table, she's busy." "Oh, she's out by the pool, laying down, I don't want to wake her up." You know, and it would just go on like that until finally we both said, "What am I doing here? You know, I'm the father, I'm calling you."
Leah eventually did speak to her father again, strictly to get him on camera for a stage scene in her so-called family reality TV show.
"Hi, Dad." "Hi, sweetheart." "Shut up. Let me see my big girl." "How are you, baby?"
But after the filming was over, George never heard from Leah again.
Yeah, I always held out a hope that one day she'll, hit her head or something and wake up and say, "I have a dad. I want to be in touch with him. I want to talk to him," besides everything else.
George Remini passed away in 2019 without a word from his daughter. Leah instead got in her last word after he died, condemning her father and defaming him in memory.
My father's, was a narcissist, an egomaniac. I mean, my dad probably had mental problems.
The attack would not have surprised George Remini. More than a decade earlier, when Leah broke off their relationship, he wrote his daughter, "You are still the same person you were in Brooklyn, except you have money and some fame. You're still a self-centered bitch."
Leah doesn't care about other people's families. She doesn't care about her own family. So for me to believe, or anybody to believe, that she can help other people and bring other people together, other people's families, is just total bullshit, and it's not real.
And no one has known that better than the family themselves. The ones she tore apart, the ones she turned her back on, the ones she hurt, estranged, and abused. This is Leah Remini, The Reality.